Brilliant legal mind Pat Robertson decided to give President Trump advice on the Mueller investigation. This is fun.
Manafort is an easy target, if I can use that term. He has clearly been an agent of foreign governments. They have paid him huge amounts of money, and the chances are he hasn't appropriately registered as an agent. And so there's a technical violation that they could get him on, and that may be what they're going after, and then one of his aides. But as far as the White House, not a chance. And there's, again, an op-ed today in the newspaper about what the president's power is. He can grant a pardon to everybody involved in this thing if he wants to. And there's no such thing as the president obstructing justice if he talks to one of his people in the Justice Department. They're part of the administration's force. That's his side of the aisle under the Constitution. I just believe the president has got to shut this thing down. It's a distraction. He is Chief Executive Officer of the United States of America. He's got to do the nation's business. We are faced with crucial things around the world. We have several areas of conflict that he's got to deal with. And we have huge matters at home that have got to get our nation moving. We cannot have this destruction. And I think he has every right to shut Mueller down and say, you've gone as far as you need to. And I have instructed my Justice Department to close you down. He can do it. And he also, you know, the article today of a couple of lawyers was saying he can grant a blanket pardon for everybody involved in everything and say, all right, I pardon them all, you know, case closed, it's all over.
Imagine the exact same set of facts with Obama and what Pat Robertson would say. Imagine President Obama's campaign manager, former campaign manager, was laundering money for thug politicians in Ukraine. That was found. He was indicted on it. And Obama's like, I'm blanket pardon for everybody, for everything. The outrage and the anger would be unfathomable. They would say this is the bigger scandal than Watergate. This is, you know, the thug presidency, the criminal presidency, the gangster presidency. He, of course, shouldn't do this. He's not allowed to do it. That's the other thing. He acts like this is an open and shut case in terms of, you know, hey, Trump pardons everybody and they move on. That is a constitutional crisis because this is a president pardoning not people they're unconnected to who, you know, hey, low-level drug criminal who's got a life sentence somehow and it wasn't a violent crime. Pardon that person. No, this is like your fucking campaign manager and 82 dudes who were in your administration. If Trump pardons them, that is a constitutional crisis. By the way, if I had to guess what's going to happen from here on out, Manafort will be found guilty and Trump will pardon him. That's my guess. But that sets up a constitutional crisis. By the way, not that it's like they follow the Constitution in other respects. Of course they don't. We just did probably 2 stories today about how they don't follow the Constitution when it comes to war and otherwise. But that's a fucking issue, man. That'll have to be resolved in court as to whether or not the president has the authority to pardon people who are in his administration, because then it's effectively, the president could always pass the buck off. Hey, yeah, so I'm in favor of doing policy X, Y, and Z, but it was really the person who's in my administration who did it, and maybe they committed a crime when implementing it, but what are you going to do? I'll pardon them and that's that. No, because then it's like effectively you have a dictatorship on another level where it's just out in the open. Like, yeah, if I get to pardon me and my cronies for everything we do, well then we can do anything and I could just pardon us. So that's a constitutional crisis. But it's amazing how flippant guys like Pat Robertson treat it when it's a president they like. When it's president they like, rules, fuck it. And this is a guy who's built a whole fucking career off of pretending to be a pious, religious man. And now he's out there like, well, obviously Jesus loves money launderers. No, Manafort is a fucking criminal. Of course he's a criminal. But while we're at it, Flynn is a criminal. He did the same thing with the government of Turkey that Manafort was doing with Ukraine. You have Tom Price. Tom Price is 100% a criminal, personally invested in stocks for health companies, then proposed bills that directly affected the stock prices of the companies he just invested in. Criminals, criminals, criminals. The whole lot of them. And what's his answer? We're the good guys. We got Jesus on our side. I don't know why I'm giving Pat Robertson that accent. We're the good guys, and we got Jesus on our side, and so you pardon everybody. That's what I do. I pardon everybody, because Jesus loves the money launderers, and Jesus loves the bribes, and Jesus loves the corruption, and Jesus is on the side of people who wanna do all that, and then who wanna be thug dictators and pardon themselves.